call the roll, please?
That's Present.
Here.
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 Here. Would you please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held July 21st, 2014. Item B, receive the minutes of the planning commission meeting held June 10th, 2014. Item C, approve a budget supplement to the Geo Street Bond Fund in the amount of $1,401,532. Item D is approve a budget supplement to the general fund in the amount of $879,141. Item E is approve a budget supplement to the special revenue fund in the amount of $642,883. Item F, approve a budget supplement to the public safety building fund in the amount of $359,418. Item G, approve a budget supplement to the half-cent sales tax fund in the amount of $860,798. Item H, approve a budget supplement to the park fund in the amount of $126,183. Item I, approve a budget supplement to the CDBG DR fund in the amount of $4,921. Item J is approve FY 2014-2015 Community Intervention Center Partnership and Service Provider Agreement with Crossroads Youth and Family Services to house detained juveniles in the amount of $40,000. Item K, declare the following items surplus: an 8-foot frail mower, a 6-foot frail mower, a 6-foot brush hog, a 1997 Do Easy slope mower, 37 signal lights, a dump bed, a knuckle boom crane, a 1984 sand and salt truck, and a 1998 passenger van. Item L is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for 2013-2014 in the amount of $827,024.07 and approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2014-2015 in the amount of $1,460,023.67.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Everybody get all their claims questions answered?
Mayor, I just wanted to mention for the record that all of the budget supplements are year-end carry-forwards from the previous fiscal year budget into the new budget, so these are not new funds or new projects,
Right.
just bills that haven't been paid yet out of the previous year.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Robert Brown,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Eric Adams.
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Joey West.
Yes, item carries. Item number 3 is consider approval of a contract with the Association of Central Oklahoma Governments, ACOG as it's known, for the FY 2015 Unified Planning Work Program.
Mayor and Council, each year ACOG conducts a unified planning work program where traffic counts are taken from the larger metro area cities to determine commuter patterns, new congestion corridors, the level of service standards for the arterials and major collector streets. This information is then used for the overall transportation planning efforts throughout the ACOG region. We have been a member of the UPWP for several years now, and we find that these traffic counts are very helpful to the city of Warren, and not just ACOG. We use these traffic counts to identify roadway deficiencies based on the ADT of our arterial roadways. The cost to the city is minimal. It primarily consists of traffic count data collection. The city has a regular agreement with traffic engineering consultants To take annual counts, the total for those are around $6,650 per year. ACOG will then reimburse the city $100 a count. So that's up to $4,000. So the final cost for this program for the city is $2,650. And that's for 42 counts at the major arterial roadways. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve this contract.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mike Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 4 is consider adoption of resolution number 801-14, authorizing a grant application to ACOG's Clean Cities program for the purchase of a GNC sanitation truck.
Mayor and Council, this is a grant program that we applied for whenever it becomes available. This is generally used in the city of Moore to pay for the incremental cost of purchasing a CNG sanitation truck versus a regular diesel type sanitation truck. The increased cost for the CNG portion is, for this last year, was $31,245. This year, the agenda says 1 CNG truck, but I've been informed it's actually 2 that we have budgeted this upcoming fiscal year. So we would be applying for 2 of these incremental costs of the CNG. That's a total of grant funds, $62,490. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Now, Elizabeth, just because we applied for the grant, does it necessarily mean that we'll get the monies?
Well, we have been successful, I think, almost every time. That's not to say that we might not be successful, because it is a competitive grant, and we're competing with other cities in the central Oklahoma area. But so far, we've been very successful.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? These are nice. I don't know how much money this saves us, but how many do we have now? 4? We have 4 of these?
CNG trucks, Richard?
4 of them for sanitation. I know they don't give very good gas mileage, so anytime we can save money on those, it's a good thing. So, good job. Would you call for the vote, please?
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 5 is considered resolution number 802-14, adopting the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2014 Action Plan, and submitting the same to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Mayor and Council, each year the Department of Housing and Urban Development requires Community Development Block Grant recipients to submit an annual action plan for the program year. This upcoming 2014-2015 program year, the city has been allocated $297,022. The CDBG Advisory Committee has recommended the following projects: for public infrastructure, a sewer line improvement project in the Southgate addition; for public services, aging services, Bethesda, Success by 6, Smart Start, 2 programs within Moore Youth and Family Services, and then also the grant covers administration and planning costs. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I make a motion that we approve.
All right, thank you. Thank you. You second that?
Second.
Okay, I didn't know she got it. Any other comments, questions? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 6 is considered rezoning application number RZ918, located in the southwest quarter of Section 14, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 1st Street and east of I-35, Interstate 35, from R3 residential general residential district to C3 general residential, general commercial district, and to approve ordinance number 777-14, application by Elite Media Group. Planning Commission recommended denial of this item 6.2.
Mayor and council, this property is located north of Southwest First Street and east of I-35. The property lies within the I-35 corridor. It is currently being used as an off-site storage facility for Garden Ponds Unlimited. The applicant wishes to bring the existing use into compliance with the zoning code. The applicant's future intent is to apply to ODOT for a billboard sign with an LED changeable sign face. Water and sewer service are available to the lot. Access is available from Southwest First Street and Chestnut Avenue. There is no floodplain located on the property and detention is not required. The Moore Vision 2020 designates the site as medium commercial and being located within the I-35 corridor due to its potential commercialization. Because uses allowed in the C3 zoning district are considered medium commercial in nature, there is no amendment to the comprehensive plan that is required. This area of Old Town is experiencing a long transition from residential to commercial land use. It's primarily driven by the close proximity of I-35. To the north and east of the subject site, ancillary commercial uses, including outdoor storage and accessory parking, have existed for some time. The parcel to the south of this property was redeveloped into Garden Ponds Unlimited several years ago. This rezoning application seeks to make official this transition that's been underway for years and is now recognized in the Moore Vision 2020. Staff recommends approval of this application as it relates to the C3 zoning request. At the Planning Commission meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the proposed use of a billboard sign. I should make a note that if and when a billboard sign application is submitted, staff will review the application for compliance with the city's sign regulations and will approve or deny the application as dictated by city code. Again, there was a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission. We did have 3 letters of protest submitted, and the 3 people who submitted the letters were at the Planning Commission meeting and spoke. Most of their protests centered around the potential for a billboard sign at that location, not really protesting the zoning per se. I believe that the applicant is here and also the protesters. If you have any questions of me, I would be happy to answer them.
This just pertains to the zoning of the property, correct? Not a placement of a billboard or anything like that?
Correct.
And ODOT has to approve the billboard as well?
ODOT has to approve the billboard and the city would have to approve the billboard going through our sign permit application process.
Okay.
And we do have a code that specifies all of the criteria that must be met.
And actually, is it fair to say that because rezoning has not occurred previously and so forth, that any of the businesses that are operating along there right now are basically out of code, that are grandfathered in? But if that was to change, the nature of that business was to change and so forth, they'd be looking at having to have it rezoned also.
That's correct.
So this part is really kind of a, how to describe it, but to bring that area into compliance, because, you know, even when we did the master plan, we identified that as potential commercial property. And I think almost across the street, not directly across the street, but south a block or so, we have rezoned that property C3 in anticipation that it would soon become commercial property. So I'd make a motion to approve staff recommendation and rezone this C3.
Well, Elizabeth, I have 2 questions for you. One is, what does the current codes say about billboard signs along I-35?
The current billboard sign regulations govern the size of the sign. It governs the placement, not within easements or right-of-way. It governs a distance between the sign and a residential home. We also have a clause in the sign regulations that state that there shall be no more billboard signs located in I-35. Since that has been passed, which has been somewhat recently, since I've been here, the way staff has interpreted it, or in practice, we have allowed one-for-one exchanges. There might be a variety of different reasons why a billboard company needs to relocate a sign. If they take down a sign, we generally allow that. That's just staff's interpretation, and the code is fairly clear when it says there's no more billboard signs.
So Terry, you were right when you were telling me that. Now, the question I have, was there a billboard on this property?
Not on this property. There was one slightly to the north of it
Okay.
that was taken down.
That's only,
So-
that's only good, I'm sorry, go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
So, if this billboard issue comes, if and when, will it come back to us?
The way the code is written currently, no. A billboard is a use permitted by right in C3, so it would just go through the administrative approval process that is in my department. They submit an application, a site plan, we make sure it complies with the spacing, the size, the location, and we move on.
Okay, now, I guess the big question is,
Pardon me, part of that process also is that they have to have ODOT approval before we'll give approval to it.
okay, the question I have, okay, if staff recommended it and the 2020 plan says we need to do it, why did the planning commission deny it?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I do know that, again, we had some citizens there who were very, and I'm sure still are, whenever you hear them, they're very passionate about this issue. I think that probably had something to do with it.
But they're passionate about the sign being put there, not the rezoning, right?
That's my understanding.
But
Well,
if we
I-
were to rezone, then it's quite possible that the sign could appear or could go back up there based upon what you told us and how it is happening. We wouldn't have to say so if we move forward with this rezone. And I would just have one question maybe for our, to the attorney. And I'm just a little bit unclear on our current city ordinance. And I have it, let me just read it. It's not real long. Except as specifically permitted by this chapter, no non-accessory signs shall be permitted within the boundaries of the area known as the I-35 corridor as defined in the North Plan 21 land use map. Non-conforming, non-accessory signs within the previously described area, existing non-accessory signs shall be considered non-conforming and shall be allowed to continue unless such sign is altered in a manner that increases the degree of nonconformity or is abandoned for a period of more than 2 years. So if those signs have been removed, they've been abandoned, they're no longer there. I don't see how we could allow a new sign to be erected based upon how I read that.
I don't know when that sign was removed, to be honest with you, but pursuant to our ordinance, it would indicate that a new sign under that ordinance would not be allowed.
Elizabeth, you said in the past, the city stance has kind of been a one-for-one exchange. Has there been a case like this where sign has moved to a separate location and I don't know, is ownership, would the ownership change in this instance? Do we know with regards to the sign?
If you're asking me, has there been an instance in the past where we have allowed a sign to come down and a new one to go up?
In a separate location?
In a separate location.
Uh-huh.
I can't recall a specific instance, but I am fairly certain that the policy exists for a a reason, and I can't recall exactly what that might be.
Thank you.
Well, I would have a problem with us doing that, just to be honest with you. Now, if the sign came down, and we put a new one up in the same place, for whatever reason it was, I would just be concerned about signs going up in different locations. I don't know, this is my personal thought.
I'm kind of struggling with the exact same thing. It's not the same place, and we have an ordinance that says no new signs. I'm just struggling with that. Apparently we're changing, I don't want to get into who's who. Apparently we're changing property owners here too and some things. It just doesn't make sense to me to move a sign and say it's okay. As far as the C3 thing, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever, but I'm struggling with this sign issue. And the fact that we can move a sign and it not come back to us.
Randy, wasn't your opinion that we couldn't do that? We couldn't put the sign back under the way you understand it?
The way that ordinance is currently written, which several years ago, the council asked me to draft that type of ordinance, was approved. And it
Okay.
essentially eliminated new signs from what was there at that time.
Okay.
I guess, to me, it kind of solves the issue.
Yeah, so the issue before us is a rezoning, and not, there's nothing in it about a sign.
Was there anybody to speak on this?
There's no one signed up.
Okay. Well, I will second the motion to allow the rezoning then. Oh,
I'm sorry. Do we get to speak in protest of it before you go?
You needed to sign up.
I sent a letter saying that we would like to speak.
Well, come on up.
Okay, thank you.
and just state your name and address for us.
Okay. Mike Lucas on the Garden Ponds Unlimited, 200 South I-35, Service Road North. I guess I interpret the 2020 plan differently. I spent time reading it. And what I got out of the 2020 plan was bring tax revenue to more, maybe build a building, do stuff. The billboard, to me, I don't see how we bring revenue to more. It's a Norman-based business. It's not even located in more. Therefore, I would think, I don't know how it would bring revenue. And if you read the plan, you know, it says for development and bringing tax revenue and to help local businesses. So the billboard to me doesn't really help. And I know what you're talking about. You're saying, well, but it's in the corridor, so it should be rezoned C3. I get that, but this is a one shot because once it's zoned C3, there's no meeting. You don't get to hear citizens' input because once it's zoned C3, as long as they comply with the state, they get the billboard. So this is kind of like the one and only shot to protest it. So I'm protesting the C3 zoning because if you really read the 2020 plan about development of retail and business, seeing how a billboard doesn't bring in tax revenue that I know of, unless I'm wrong, we're not in the 2020 plan, we're just putting up a billboard. I don't know if they have any plans to build a building or do anything, but if you rezone it C3, then they get the sign. And I was worried about many things. Obviously, we have a rental house over there. You know, it was rented before the tornado. We're still cleaning up. But the lighted billboard would obviously decrease the property value tremendously on the rental house.
Let me ask you something. Don't you have an application with ODOT?
I do.
For a billboard right there on your property, 50 feet away?
On my own property where my
Right.
own billboard exists now, which wouldn't hinder my home over there, the rental house over there, because it's on the back side of Garden Ponds. It's on the south side. So it's,
But they won't give you that permit because yours is a zone commercial, correct?
mine's zone C3.
It is?
Yeah. Mine is zone C3 and currently is zone C3. And the sign, there's even minutes of an old meeting where the church that used to own the parcel had it rezoned specifically for a billboard. And we have that. But it's just that I understand you're saying, well, it's in the 2020 plan. it should be zone C3. Well, once it's zone C3, the billboard goes up, and there's no other input from any other people that may be in protest, so this is it.
Well, the city attorney just said that our current codes prevent a new one from going up.
Well, I don't know, I mean, if it wanting to develop it, I mean, why can't it go C2? You know, why does it have to be C3? If maybe they're gonna build a gas station or a retail complex there or something, but I'm currently into a lease that ends in July of 2016 for the property. I don't understand why somebody applied 2 years ahead of time for a billboard or anything when I am into a prepaid lease that I paid in full all the way up till July of 2016 for the property that I've been renting it for years.
Well, I agree with you. Now, to me personally, I think the billboard's a non-issue.
Right.
To me, the attorney said, hey, we can't put it up.
Well,
I
I
mean,
hope
that-
that happens, but I'm looking at this as my only shot to try and stop it. I don't really want a billboard right there because, you know, competitors could lease it of mine. You know, obviously, my business won't be as visible with it sitting where it is, at least on my application on my other one, at least I'm in control. At least I can't, there's some control if I redo the one where mine currently sits. But this one here, it could hurt my business as well as the property, the little residential property over there.
And I understand what you're saying, but again, to me, it can't happen. So, to me, that doesn't have anything to do with the zoning.
Okay.
But I agree with you, though.
Let's say there's a way for it to happen. Is there any other, like say you, obviously, it looks like you want to zone it C3. Then there's no other way for any citizens to come and protest the billboard after that fact from here on out.
Not to the city council, because it won't come to us again. Now, our staff the staff will decide whether or not, right, Elizabeth? Staff will decide.
Okay.
And so, I mean, and our city
Well,
attorney's part of our
some people
staff.
sound kind of for it.
So, well, our city
Some of
attorney's
the
part of
staff
our
seems
city attorney
already-
is part of our staff too, though.
Okay. This is it will hurt my business. I don't want competitors. I'm guilty of it myself. I'm renting billboard ads on right across the street from other garden home stores, and I just don't want to, I want to stay where I'm at. I've been there 15 years. My building's finally paid off. I plan on doing expansions. I want to thrive and more.
Other than the billboard, was there any other reason for protesting the rezoning?
Well, the devaluing of the house, and I think it's kind of, I haven't measured it, but I think it's the city code, I think it says 100 feet within a residential property. The house on Chestnut is zone R3. So it's kind of close to that. I think the billboard lighting up the backyard would make it harder to rent. I
Well,
know.
other than a billboard. Other than a billboard, was there any reason for protesting rezoning?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a 2-year lease on it. I don't really know why somebody would want to rezone it 2 years ahead of time. The lease expires in July of 2016. I use the property in its entirety for storage on everything, so I don't see a reason to rezone it now, maybe 2 years from now.
So you're saying you would have to shut down the business then?
I conduct business on that property. I actually use it for storage, and I have a permission from the city because I put some landscaping along the I-35 corridor in order to have outside storage.
So Elizabeth, you'll have to shut down in 2 years then?
Well, I got plans to build a building. I got other plans. I hope I would continue to keep the lease. Of probably angry people and may not be able to now since I'm protesting this. But yeah, I mean, a billboard would affect my business. The C2, the C3 zoning could possibly affect it because if there was a way for them to get the sign put up, if there was some kind of a way, it would hurt.
You also realize that, based on what has been said tonight, it's not likely that you're gonna get a permit to put a billboard up either.
Well, I already have one, so if I can, I'm fine with it, but I would like to,
You already have a permit for a billboard?
Not yet, I haven't applied yet. They're stamped in ahead of the state.
But, based on city code and so forth, we said we didn't want new billboards in that corridor.
Right. I interpreted it different where he said earlier, if the one comes down and is relocated, it couldn't go up, but I interpreted it from what he said just a minute ago, that if it stays in its existing spot, comes down and goes up in its existing spot, not in a different property, it could.
Right, you have one right now, right?
I have a permit in with the city.
I mean, but you don't have a sign though right now?
I have a billboard.
Now, he has what we call an accessory sign. It's fairly large. It probably is the max square footage that we allow under accessory signs, but it has his business advertised on it. It looks very much like a small billboard.
Gotcha.
It had a Class A zoning through the state at one time.
So the way I read this ordinance is that you could upgrade that, if you assuming you get ODOT and all that stuff, you could upgrade that sign and do things you want to do to it. And I think there's just a little bit of confusion. If you were to, on my part, if you were to remove that sign and erect a brand new sign in that exact same spot, I don't think that would be permitted by the city ordinance.
I don't see why it wouldn't, because he
No.
said it's.
If it was in the same
The
spot.
ordinance says that you can't improve on that sign.
On that sign.
Right, I was gonna
Sign,
remove it and have
not a
it
brand
when
new
constructed,
sign.
bring everything up to code, make it a nicer, it's older, it's not in the best shape. I'd like to improve that billboard as well as my property.
Really not the issue here
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah, the issue is just the zoning.
Okay. I had to say,
I know, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We let you speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let me, I'll just ask another question. I just, Elizabeth, have we ever, have new signs gone up in our city since this ordinance been in place? New signs, maybe not even at the exact, along the I-35 corridor. Do you know?
I cannot recall.
And
I
this is
can't
just
recall.
my question, if, let's say we approve this, and, then the applicant wants to put up a sign, and the staff is, from what I gather, is going to be directed, no, you're not going to be able to do that, and they'll end up possibly suing the city and taking it to court, and the court could review, could find that information out, and see that no, actually signs have been put up, so then we would have to allow it. I just don't want us to get ourselves in a position by authorizing this land as zone C3, then we're out.
But we do that every time up and down the corridor. If a new business comes in, of course, they're gonna put a sign on their building. Doesn't have to be a billboard sign, but it, I
Now,
mean,
if the sign is attached to the building, then it comes under a totally different.
Oh, yeah,
thing, right?
that's an accessory sign. Billboards are classified as non-accessory signs, and that's a separate set of regulations. So obviously, we've had lots of accessory signs going.
I'm thinking of one sign in particular that's basically a billboard sign, size, but it's attached to the building.
Which building is it?
That's on the north end, Home Creations.
That's an accessory sign.
That's what I'm thinking. So we have put up signs, allowed signs like that, but that's permitted under the code.
What I'm certain of is that there's not been an increase in the number of non-accessory
Yep.
billboard signs along I-35 since that ordinance was passed a number of years ago. I'm certain of that.
Yep.
There may have very well been an occasion where there was a sign removed and another one put up at that same location. I don't recall one at another location. There could have been, I don't recall that.
going back to the rezoning, staff recommendation was to rezone it, correct?
Correct. The staff recommendation was to rezone to C3. That's because of the comp plan supporting the medium commercial use at that site. It's not an implicit approval of a billboard sign application.
So the question I asked a while ago was why was it denied? It's because it got convoluted in some kind of sign deal.
Yes, the discussion
Okay.
is clearly about billboard signs.
Okay.
Elizabeth, do you see this rezoning having any detrimental effects on anything in that area?
No, usually what it does do is it provides certain protections for that general area. Once a property is rezoned to C3, if anyone develops it with a building, it has to meet certain aesthetic standards being zoned to C3. There's certain things that you cannot store outside. I would view it as a protection for that general area. for when it does develop.
And what were some of the uses again, C3? I'm sorry, we talk about this all the time.
C3 is our most broad zoning classification.
Okay, yeah.
So it could be anything from an office building to a retail outlet to a grocery store.
Yeah.
It seems to me that, you know, if we pass this ordinance, we've not done anything as far as the signs. But what we can, I think, do in expressing ourselves is say that maybe we want a more stricter interpretation of that sign ordinance. And then let those who haven't entered fight it out in another venue, whether that may be district court or Elizabeth's office. I didn't put on my strike the church to referee.
I have a question. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
I figured you were the applicant.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Council, David Box, 522 Colorado Drive. What we have, there has been a lot of discussion. I think one of the main sources of confusion is the garden pond sign, as Mr. Eady indicated, is an accessory, it is not a building. But what the owner of Garden Ponds has applied for to ODOT, and I have a copy of his application to ODOT if anyone would like to see it, is for a 60-foot LED sign that has no limitation on it being accessory. One of the issues we have is there was a permit in place that my client owned for the old Hoffman's furniture sign. Now, as to who owned the actual sign structure is up for debate, but the permit was owned by my client. Over a night or a weekend, somebody went in without permission of the permit owner, removed the sign, thereby kicking into this process a 30-day window in which.
Mr. Box, thanks. We're done. We're just gonna do a rezoning.
Okay.
We're not gonna do signs tonight. Thanks.
Well, on the zoning, it's absolutely 100% in conformance with the comprehensive plan. It's what the I-35 corridor calls for, and it would allow the use. The question about what his use have to end, the answer is no. It would actually bring the use that's current into conformance with the zoning, so it would be an overall net.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We have a motion.
Yeah, I
second,
think Mr.
right?
Roberts made a motion, I seconded, I think.
Okay. Would you call for the, is there any other discussion? Would you call for the vote?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
No.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Terry Kavner,
Yes.
Lynn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Thank you. Item number 7 is consider More Vision 2020 Comprehensive Plan Amendment number 47, located in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 19th Street and west of Telephone Road, from high-density residential to medium commercial, application by Royal Rock Business Park, LLC, Pat Ruff. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 8-0.
Mayor and council, items number 7, 8, 9, and 10 on your council docket. I will discuss those together. This site is located north of Southwest 19th Street and west of South Telephone Road. The site was home to the Royal Park Mobile Home Park. However, after the May 20th, 2013 tornado, the mobile park has now closed. The general area is experiencing redevelopment on a large scale. We have multifamily developments with the, what I call the Bonnie Bray duplexes, that is just to the north and west, and the construction of the 35 West apartment complex to the west. The applicants are seeking to expand the Royal Rock commercial area to the north of the current development by approximately 425 feet. To accommodate this request, the zoning must be changed from R3 General Residential District to C3 General Commercial District. Water and sewer will be extended to serve the site from the existing Royal Rock Commercial Park to the south. Access is provided by Max Morgan Boulevard and Street. A FEMA floodway is located within the limits of the drainage channel to the east of the site. The applicant is not proposing any changes to the channel. Detention will be provided off-site with a regional detention pond, and that will be constructed in the Little River Park. A fee in lieu of detention will be required. The Moore Vision 2020 designates a large portion of this property as high-density residential. That was due to the existing mobile home park that was on site for many years. However, as I said before, the mobile home park has now been vacated and closed. Because this application seeks to expand the existing commercial park, and because medium commercial land uses are similar in nature to high-density residential land use, staff does not anticipate any adverse effects on the area with this change to the comp plan. Since the May 20th tornado, this general area has seen a resurgence of development interest. There's a significant amount of reinvestment occurring with housing recovery. With the closing of the mobile home park, a unique opportunity exists to provide quality development that will support and complement the surrounding high-density residential developments. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning application and the comprehensive plan amendment application. There's also two plats that are under consideration tonight. These are replats of the Royal Park Moore addition, which is the addition that housed the mobile home park. They are vacating the plat through district court. That is proceeding nicely. Section 5 includes 3 lots west of Max Morgan Boulevard. Section 6 includes 4 lots that are north of LA Fitness. And on page 169 of your packet, there's a map that shows both of these sections. Max Morgan will be extended to serve the lots and reconnect with Southwest 17th Street. We're also looking at some changes to Max Morgan where it connects with 19th Street to increase its capacity. Staff recommends approval of both of these plats. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
I know you probably know, but can we announce who's coming, or do we know that? No? Okay.
Deidre says no.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. They're rezoning for businesses, but they're nice businesses. Okay. All right. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 8 is considered rezoning application number RZ916, located at the southeast quarter of section 22, township 10 north, range 3 west, being north of Southwest 19th Street and west of Telephone Road, from R3 residential district to C3 general commercial district, and approve ordinance number 77414, application by Royal Rock Business Development, LLC. Pat Broadfoot, Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 8-0. And as you just heard, it is a companion item to the last one. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, thank you both. Would you call for the vote if there's no other discussion on this item?
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. I can tell you guys, this project right here, these 4 projects have been going on for 20 years. And when Max Morgan was alive, he would have been so happy to see this day come. Item number 9 is consider the final plat for Royal Rock Addition, Section 5, located in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 19th Street and west of Telephone Road. Application by Royal Rock Business Park, LLC. Pat Broadfoot, Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 8-0. This is the plat for the first.
Move to approve.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you both. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on these items? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 10 is consider the final plat for Rural Rock Addition, Section 6, located in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 19th Street and west of Telephone Road. Application by Rural Rock Business Development, LLC, Pat Broadfoot. Planning Commission recommended this item. Approval 8-0.
Move to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote?
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Cavanagh.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Brown.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 11 is consider rezoning application RZ 917 located in the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 19th Street and east of Santa Fe Avenue, from C2 Neighborhood Commercial District to C3 General Commercial District, and approve ordinance number 77614, application by Retail Buildings Incorporated. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 8-0.
Mayor and Council, this site is located north of Southwest 19th Street and east of South Santa Fe. The property was platted in 1999. That was prior to the widening of Santa Fe from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. Once the roadway was widened, development interest increased in the general area. The applicant now wishes to construct a fast food restaurant with a drive-through on the property. To accommodate this use, both lots must be zoned C3 General Commercial District. Water is available to the site along South Santa Fe Avenue. Public sewer must be extended to serve the site from the south. Access is available from South Santa Fe Avenue, and cross-access agreements will be required with the lots to the north and the south. There is no floodplain located on this property, and a fee in lieu of detention is required. The Moore Vision 2020 designates the southern lot as medium commercial, while the northern lot is designated as light commercial. Staff believes the intent of the plan was to have a light commercial buffer between the medium commercial developments and the existing neighborhood. This is achieved with the lot to the north that is zoned C2, that is being developed currently as a light commercial land use. Our staff does believe that this application complies with the intent of the Moore Vision 2020. With the completion of the South Santa Fe Avenue road widening project in 2010, this area has been ripe for development. It's taken several years for it to come to fruition, but it is finally happening, and staff recommends approval of this application. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Terry Cavanagh.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Brown.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Do we know if what restaurant that is?
It's going to be a Brahms.
Brahms, okay.
And they have announced that, so.
Okay, thank you.
If not, they just did.
Okay. Item number 12, excuse me, is discuss proposed final change order to the Wind Construction Company on wastewater treatment plant and direct staff as deemed appropriate.
Mayor, council members, I sent out an email with regard to this earlier, late this afternoon. I apologize for not getting it out to you a little bit quicker, but I've been indicating along the way that we are trying to come to a resolution with final payment and acceptance and all of the wastewater treatment plant out there. So as you know, this has been a long project, much longer than we had anticipated and hoped for. A probably less than desirable relationship between the city and our engineer and the contractor developed over time, and so we're trying to see if this can be worked out amicably between the city and WIN in order to avoid litigation is what we're trying to do here. We believe that the proposal that WIN's agreed to, that we're recommending tonight, will do that, is fair and will get the project completed. I need to point out that the project is complete and is an excellent project. They did do an excellent job on the work, albeit much longer than anticipated. The bottom line is that through the change orders that have already been approved, the contract amount was $46,383,439, as you can see there on it. We've paid them all of that money with the exception of $262,000. The last time you all discussed this, there was a change order number 6 that was approved that would extend the completion date to May 14th of 2013. Obviously, that was last year. The completion date was determined to be March 21st of this year. The time that was involved with this is obviously the most critical part here. So there's about 191 days in our minds that are in question of this time that's of concern. There was some additional weather days that we felt like were appropriate, 30 days, and about 90 days for startup of the plant where they weren't able to affect the startup because of the old plant needed to be demolished first. So the bottom line is that we're recommending that it's so confusing that I need to make sure I'm completely telling you without making. They had submitted a change order number 7 to us, which requested $614,000 in additional cost. We denied that claim, but we did agree with $94,924, which was additional work that we agreed to. Also, we're holding $97,500, which is owed to a company called Siemens Water Technologies that is owed, and we would pay that. There's also some costs that are outside the scope of the contract that for just over $23,000 for some additional paving work that's out there, so that would be paid. The agreement with WIN is that they would accept the final payment amount that was approved through the previous change order, which was the $46,383,439.03, in exchange for extending the contract time to the March 21st, 2014, which when the plant was substantially complete and the engineers determined it to be complete. And this would add the weather days of 30 days, the 90 days for the startup delays, and 191 days in exchange for them deleting the $94,000 change order that we had previously agreed to. So the net effect there would be, of the $262,000 that we currently owe, there would be about $165,000 that we would go ahead and pay them, but there wouldn't be any liquidated damages for the additional time under this proposal. And I know that's not something that I'm eager to submit to you by any means, and I know that there was some concern about the time, and rightfully so, on this. In the end, we've got a good project, and I think that our recommendation is that you approve us pursuing this path and to settle this out and finish up with them. Satish is here and he can talk to you about anything as far as the time and all of that sort of thing, but in the end, I'm very concerned about what'll happen going forward.
Yeah. The other thing, when we started down this path, we knew and that it was very complex in its nature. And this is not the kind of construction that occurs on a regular basis in any city. And the bottom line is we came out with an excellent project that has solved the problems.
That has solved our odor problem specifically, and has doubled the capacity of the plant. Yes,
So
sir.
this is not an issue that we have to face for a long time.
Here's the deal, David. When this came up and the $614,000, I brought it up that if we approved their $614,000, they would have been the second lowest bidder, not the lowest bidder. And when they got up here in front of us, I asked them specifically, can you have this done on time? Oh, absolutely, was the response. And I think if you go back and look at the minutes, it says that.
They did say that, Mayor.
And, but my thing is, the other bidder was bidding on the specifications at that time. And with some of the revisions that took place with our engineers' concurrence, they would have been faced with the same rise also. So,
Let me just also say that with the change orders that have already been approved all the way through time, our net change order cost, or the change order cost, was 1.63% of the contract amount. And again, it's a large contract, so that's not a small amount of money. But as a percentage in an overall project, with the difficulty of this project particularly, as you all recall way back in time, we didn't want to build it at that location because of the issues and the problems that we knew we would have. And they did run into a lot of issues, underground issues, a lot of stuff that had to be pulled out of the ground, concrete, and the old sewer plant was there from years ago. And they came back and asked for money for that.
There's
and
also
we
a
denied all that.
12% contingency built into that $40-something million that we used up.
But we have used up all the money.
Yeah. So that's what contingencies are for. The unexpected things you find, they didn't do their due diligence.
Well, again, the change orders that already been approved prior to this, change orders 1 through 6 are change orders that we agreed with. They've submitted, Satish, $2 or $3 million of additional change orders over time that we never approved and you never saw because we just told them, no way we're going to do that. And that's the case with the $614,000. This is a newer change order, Mayor, than before, whenever they were even here before, the $614,000. And that's why we told them no way, no how on that, except for $94,000 of it.
You know, I know it's a huge project, but that's why we get everything in writing and we do a contract, you know? Otherwise, you just say, oh, go ahead and start it and tell me how much you need when you're done. And that's not not a good way to do business.
Oh, no, it isn't. I mean, that's not the way we did business with this either, but.
Well, it kind of is, if you look at it. It's like they agreed to do this in a year and it took them almost over a year.
The original construction time frame was about 2 years originally, and then pushed on about close to a year after that, and now another 300 days after that. So there's no denying that it took much longer than you wanted, than we wanted, than anyone wanted on the project.
Is this a deal that's already worked out, or?
We've talked to them and they've agreed to this, if you agree. If they don't, then we're back to square one with it.
Okay. Do we have a motion from anybody?
I'll make a motion that we approve this payment of $165,000 as a settlement.
That's an approximate number. It'll be right at that, but it won't be exactly that number, but it'll be approximately that.
$165,000 that we're holding as retained tracts.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote?
I just want to make a
I'm
quick
sorry,
statement. I don't disagree with you, Mayor, where you're at. Certainly, that's emotionally where I am. But the other side of that is,
Get it done, get it over with.
yeah, because
get
we're
it
not
out of the way.
going to win in court. We never do.
Yeah, we never do.
So, but I just want you to know I agree with you.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
But City Manager, I do want to say thank you for putting in the contract that, you know, there's a fine if you do go over. I think that's pretty valuable to have on these big deals, so I appreciate you putting that in the contract, and hopefully we'll do more of those, because, you know, I kind of hold people to what they say, you know, but thank you for putting that in and helping do more of those.
Now you call for the vote, I guess.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Reluctantly, yes.
Thank
Yes.
you, Robert.
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Gary Kavner,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Item carries.
You know, we're done with that whole thing now, right? We're not going to talk about it ever again.
I hope not. We do.
That's
we
why
are,
we just voted yes, wasn't it?
we are going to have a sort of a grand opening on it because you really do need to come out and see it. We're gonna have a public grand opening and invite the public in to see it and all, because it's an incredible facility. It really is, and you'll be shock and awe when you see it, I think. But we're gonna put that together pretty quick and have this out there.
I dare say that there are very few facilities such as this.
I think this is probably one of the, if not the most state-of-the-art plant in the state of Oklahoma. And I know Robert's indicated to me we've had many cities and engineers coming through, looking at the plant, how it operates, and this plant particularly, and designing new plants around the state.
Okay. Item 13 is discuss and authorize a proposed grant application to Mercury One for a partial funding of a new emergency command post.
Mayor, this is a little unique, but this is an entity that actually Mark became aware of soon after the May 20th storm of last year. An entity that was providing grants to law enforcement or city-related entities, or that was proposing to provide grants for things such as this, the command post, or something that a municipality would need. And Mark actually made contact with them some time ago on behalf of the sheriff, and I think that the sheriff was able to take advantage of some of that for a new command facility for him. And Councilman Ham recontacted them and wanted to know if it was an opportunity that we perhaps could apply. There's nothing guaranteed here, but they indicated we could apply. And so that's what this is, a grant application to Mercury One. We have put in $300,000 in the amount line, and we'll see what we can get.
Did we budget monies for this?
There was some budgeted in the public safety tax, around 250,000-ish, I think.
Because I believe the sheriff's was a matching grant on his. So if they do a matching grant, we have up to 200,000?
We do.
Okay. Excellent. All right, do we have
And just a couple other things that I thought was, spoke highly of Mercury One. There were, I can't remember the exact number, it was either 7 or 8 employees of the sheriff's office that either had lost their home or had significant damage. And they came up that day and wrote them checks for either $50,000 or $25,000, depending on what their home was. And something you need to understand is that is a $50,000, that's more than a year's pay for somebody at the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. So that was a significant amount of money for those people. So I hope that, we move forward with this and maybe we get a little bit of money to help us finish our emergency command post.
This is Glenn Beck's organization, right?
Right.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Leonard,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Eric Adams.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 14 is consider approval of an updated job description for the position of Emergency Management Director and approve a job description for the position of Assistant Emergency Management Director and a placement in pay range 64 of the non-union pay table.
Mayor, this, for the most part, is a housekeeping item. The updated job description for the Emergency Management Director's position. This was previously Emergency Management and Communications Director, so that communications function was removed some time ago. So this revised application is just for Galen's job as Emergency Management Director. And then the new job description is for the position that is new in the budget for the Assistant Emergency Management Director.
So the pay range 64 is for the assistant, not for the emergency management?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just want to clarify. All right,
Make a motion to approve.
thank you.
Second.
right, thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting. Item number 15 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Public Works Authority meeting held July 21st, 2014. Item B is approve a budget supplement to the MPWA fund in the amount of $1,086,100. Item C is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2013-2014 in the amount of $655,104.29, and approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2014-2015 in the amount of $320,871.68. We have a motion?
Move to
Everybody?
approve.
Thank you. Everybody get their claims questions answered, expense claims answered? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. If so, would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Public Works Authority meeting and convene the Moore Risk Management meeting. Item number 16 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Risk Management meeting held July 21st, 2014. Item B is approve a budget supplement to the Moore Risk Management Fund in the amount of $32,357. Item C is approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2013-2014 in the amount of $296,164.23.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you please call for the vote?
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Risk Management meeting and reconvene the City Council meeting. Item number 17 is new business citizens forum for items not on the agenda. Is there anyone like to speak? Okay. Item B, items from the city manager or trustees. I have a couple of things. I want to thank you guys for fixing Broadway and Eastern. It's looking good. There's only one small patch that's not fixed yet. So it's sweet. So anyway, thanks for that. And we had a great turnout at the fishing derby. I was there about 10 to 8, and I think they had 248 registered people out there fishing. They had more people than fish. So it was a great turnout. We may have to do that a couple times a year. And also, I have a question. Can we use the HUD money to update the 2020 plan?
They have indicated that we can do that, Mayor.
Okay, then I would think we need to start on that pretty soon. Okay, that's all I got. Anybody else?
I just have a couple of quick things, and one of it would be in reference to the zoning, the C3, and based upon what our city attorney said, that the staff is clear that it's not, a new sign can't go. So when and I suspect that's what they want to do there, when that does come, that they're going to say no, and then it'll go from there, whatever happens.
That's what I heard.
Okay. And I had, okay, well, I guess I forgot it, so apparently it wasn't that big a deal. That's it, that's all I got.
I got just a quick comment, just talking about the people looking at all of our new facilities, both sewer and our public safety center and our fire departments before. I just think it's kind of cool that more Oklahoma, we have people literally coming all over the state to look at our facilities. I think we should all be proud of what we've done. It's kind of
So,
cool.
wasn't that way a long time ago, was it?
No, it wasn't. It's a neat place to be.
Yeah, it really is. Nothing on this side? Wow. Okay. Any items from the city manager or trust manager?
The only thing I wanted to mention, Mayor, is the National Night Out activities are tomorrow night in town. There's a few of the neighborhoods, I think, that are doing something, but the police and fire departments will be having some equipment on display and some various activities at the Target parking lot tomorrow evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And also I need to mention that there's some participating businesses that we need to thank that are helping us with this. Chick-fil-A, Home Depot, McAllister's Deli, Raising Cane's, Target, and USA Taekwondo Center. So we appreciate them, and if you want to come out and see some of the police or fire equipment and some displays and some Save Kids bike helmets, various things, crime prevention activities and all, this is the opportunity for neighborhoods or folks to show their support for neighborhoods in the community.
Good deal. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, item 18 is executive session. Excuse me. Section 307, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes permits the public body to meet in executive session for certain specified reasons under certain specified conditions. It is the opinion of the city attorney that the city council may consider and adopt a motion to meet in executive session to discuss the following item. Item A, consider approval of fiscal year 2014-2015 contract between the City of Moore and Fraternal Order of Police, FOP, Lodge 131, as authorized by 25 Oklahoma Statutes 307B-2.
I would so move.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote, please?
Terry Cavanagh.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes. Thanks. We're adjourned to executive session.
August 11th will be my first meeting.
It's coming quick.
Yes, it is. See, look at that, look at that, look. I'm not on a straight, I'm always cut off.
Because you're a loose cannon. Wait, there you are.
There you go, now I'm finally okay with it.
Screwdriver, Rich.
We just picked up a bunch of years.
Would you call the roll back, please?
Robert Kraus,
Present.
Jason Blair.
Here.
Scott Singer.
Here.
Terry Kavner.
Here.
David Roberts.
Here.
Mark Ham.
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here, do we have a motion on the item?
Make a motion to approve the contract.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the FOP contract. Would you call for the vote, please?
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, and I would like to say thank you to all the guys that serve over there. They do an excellent job, and I'm proud of everyone. Thank you. Next item is motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
All right, thank you. Would you call for the vote, please?
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
Terry Kavner.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.